You say "I'm sorry" when someone else bumps into you. You instinctively adjust your tone, your posture, and even your opinions the moment you sense a slight shift in the room's energy. It happens before you even have time to think about it. To the outside world, you are the person who keeps the peace. You are the one who never makes a fuss, the one who is effortless to get along with. You are the reliable friend, the easygoing partner, the low-maintenance employee. But deep down, inside the private theater of your mind, it doesn't feel like kindness. It feels like exhaustion. It feels like a high-stakes performance that you are not allowed to quit. You are constantly walking on a tightrope, balancing a tray of full water glasses, terrified that one wrong move, one wrong word, or one moment of authentic frustration will cause a spill that ruins everything. You carry a heavy, silent belief that if you stop making people happy, you will cease to be valuable to them. You fear that if you show up as your true self, with all your boundaries and needs, you will be rejected. Here is the reality check that you need to hear right now. This behavior is not just you being too nice. It is not a lack of backbone. And it is certainly not a character flaw that you need to shame yourself for. What you are experiencing is a deeply wired, high-speed biological survival program. We often hear about the three main stress responses: fight, flight, and freeze. But there is a fourth response that evolutionary psychology identifies, and it is the one that dictates your life. It is called the Fawn Response. To fawn means to appease a threat to stay alive. In the wild, if you cannot fight the predator and you cannot run away, your best chance of survival is to make yourself non-threatening, useful, or pleasing, so the predator has no reason to attack. Your brain has coded interpersonal conflict not just as an uncomfortable social situation, but as a life-threatening danger. So, when you agree to plans you actually hate, or when you swallow your anger to keep the dinner table quiet, you aren't being fake. You are surviving. Your nervous system is hijacking your vocal cords to ensure your safety before your logical brain can even intervene. Understanding this is the first step to freedom. You are not broken. Your machine is working exactly as it was designed to work in a dangerous environment. It is just that the environment has changed, but the switch is still stuck on danger. We typically see this survival mechanism manifest in three distinct architectures, three types of people pleasers. You will likely recognize yourself in the first two, but the third type is the one that reveals the hidden genius behind your behavior. The third type completely reframes why you are the way you are. Before we break these down, I want you to take a breath. Release the tension in your shoulders. Let's dismantle the first architecture, the Peacekeeper. This is the most visible form of the condition. If you are a peacekeeper, your primary directive is the immediate neutralization of tension. You are the human equivalent of a shock absorber. When you walk into a room, you can physically feel the static electricity of an unspoken argument. While others might ignore it, you feel a compulsion to fix it. You become the mediator, the one who cracks a joke to lighten the mood, or the one who immediately takes the blame just to make the problem go away. Your motto is "It's fine, I don't mind," even when it is definitely not fine, and you definitely do mind. You view conflict not as a way to resolve differences, but as a structural failure of the relationship. The biological cost here is massive. By constantly absorbing the emotional impact for everyone else, your body remains in a chronic state of low-grade anxiety. You are paying a tax on conflicts that don't even belong to you. You sacrifice your own comfort to maintain a synthetic harmony. You are buying peace, but the currency you are using is your self-respect. Now, let's go deeper into the second architecture, the Chameleon. This type is more subtle and often much more painful internally. While the Peacekeeper focuses on external harmony, the Chameleon focuses on internal erasure. If you identify as a chameleon, you have become a master of mirroring. You don't just agree with people, you become who they need you to be. When you are with your serious intellectual friends, your posture changes, your vocabulary shifts, and you become analytical. When you are with your loud, party-loving friends, you suddenly become the entertainer. You reflect the energy of the room so perfectly that you often forget what your own energy feels like. This isn't about being fake or manipulative. It is a desperate attempt to belong. The underlying belief driving the chameleon is a deep-seated fear that your core self is fundamentally unlovable or inadequate. You believe that if you were to show up without a mask, if you were to just sit there with your own awkwardness, your own strange interests, and your own bad moods, you would be abandoned. So you curate yourself. You edit your personality in real time. You scan the person across from you for micro-expressions of approval or boredom, and you adjust your output accordingly. It is a brilliant performance, but it is incredibly lonely. Because even when people say they love you, a voice in your head whispers, they don't love you. They love the character you are playing. You are being applauded for a role, while the real you sits backstage, unseen and starving for connection. And now we arrive at the third architecture. This is the twist. This is the perspective shift that changes everything. I call this type the high-stakes diplomat. If you identify with the first two types, you have likely told yourself a story that you are weak, submissive, or pushovers. But let's look at the data again. The high-stakes diplomat reveals that your people-pleasing is not a sign of weakness. It is actually evidence of a terrifyingly high level of social intelligence and adaptability. You were likely raised in an environment that was emotionally unpredictable. Perhaps you had a parent who was volatile, or an atmosphere at home that could shift from calm to chaotic in a split second. In that environment, you could not afford to be oblivious. You had to pay attention. You had to learn how to read the room before you even entered it. You learned to interpret the sound of a closing door to determine if your father was angry or tired. You became an expert at data collection. You trained yourself to detect micro-expressions that most people are completely blind to. You built a supercomputer in your mind designed to predict human behavior and mitigate risks before they happened. This is not weakness, this is a superpower. This is survival intelligence. You are like a bomb defusal expert who can cut the red wire with shaky hands while the clock is ticking down. You have developed a level of empathy and perception that makes you an incredible leader, a compassionate friend, and a master negotiator. The ability to sense what others need, to make people feel heard, and to diffuse tension is a rare and valuable gift. The problem isn't the skill itself. The problem is that the war is over, but you are still wearing the heavy armor. You are using a military-grade radar system to navigate a grocery store trip. It is exhausting not because you are broken, but because you are overqualified for the safety of your current life. You possess a high-performance engine. You just need to learn how to take it out of emergency mode. To truly heal, we need to understand the mechanism behind the madness. Think of your brain like an advanced early warning radar system. In a healthy brain, this radar sweeps the horizon occasionally to make sure there are no storms coming. But for you, the sensitivity dial on this radar has been stuck at maximum since childhood. Your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for processing fear, is hyperactive. It detects a slight frown on your boss's face and immediately screams, "Code red! Danger imminent!" It bypasses your prefrontal cortex, the logical part of your brain that knows you are actually safe, and sends you straight into that fawn response. You have been living in a fortified bunker, watching the radar screen, convinced that if you stop monitoring the environment for 1 second, disaster will strike. But here is the truth you need to integrate. You are no longer that helpless child. You have autonomy now. You have resources. You can handle disappointment. If someone is unhappy with you, it is not a threat to your survival. It is just information. You don't need to dismantle your radar. It is a part of your brilliance. You just need to recalibrate the sensitivity. You need to teach your nervous system that disagreement does not equal danger. Start small. The next time you feel that frantic urge to fix someone else's mood or to say yes when your body is screaming no, just pause. Take a single breath. That breath is the signal to your brain that you are safe. Ask yourself, am I doing this because I want to or because I am afraid? Reclaiming your voice will feel terrifying at first. It will feel wrong. But remember that discomfort is not a warning signal. It is the sound of your boundaries growing back.
You are allowed to take up space, you are allowed to be inconvenient, and most importantly, you are allowed to be loved for who you are, not for what you do for everyone else. Which of the three types resonated with you the most? Are you the Peacekeeper, the Chameleon, or the Diplomat? Tell me in the comments below.